Good evening. New mascots and potentially new logos could be mandated at more than a dozen Central New York school systems after the State Board of Regents meets next week. Morgan Scott is in the studio tonight with new information on what might lie ahead. Morgan.
Michael, the state is expected to ban the use of Native American names, logos, and mascots at all public schools, something that's already meeting mixed reactions from communities closely tied to those school identities. Late last year, the State Department of Education issued guidance to schools across the state that suggested schools make changes to mascots affiliated with Native Americans. Now, reports out of Albany indicate the suggestion will become a requirement soon.
It should have been done a long time ago. I believe because of the nationality and the race, it may have, dragged along. If it was another class of people, it would have been changed.
Changes at the professional sports level continue. The Washington Redskins NFL team only permanently changing its name last year. Some neighbors say schools in Central New York should be happy to follow in this lead.
Forward in the right direction as Syracuse becomes like a more diverse hub for people all across the country that might be moving here. So I think it's a great way to embrace other cultures and all the diversity that we have in our communities now.
Others feel the ban would be a step in the wrong direction, since schools will need to pay for a complete rebrand.
Maybe we should look at it as a positive, where these mascots are a symbol of a culture, and being affiliated with a sports team can be something that's positive.
For advocates of the ban, however, the fight against the use of these mascots is much bigger than sports, especially since these images are often stereotypical and misleading of the indigenous community.
I do agree with the Native Americans wanting their whole, identity back in full form.
Now, our news team found at least 13 school districts with names and mascots such as Warriors, Chiefs, Indians, and there's even the Oriskany Redskins. The State Board of Regents says it will vote on the ban during a meeting on Monday.
Well, tonight, concerns about swatting, leaving schools, police, and communities in Central New York on edge.
Swatting is when calls come into the 911 center with a fake threat of an active school shooter. They've been plaguing New York State over these last few weeks. Central and Western New York region schools forced into lockdowns or lockouts while police investigate. Just today in Monroe County, the Hilton Central School District received a fourth non-credible threat in just under a month, with the school district continuing their day as scheduled. Now in Madison County, a new team is working to stop potential threats from ever getting that far.
Investigative reporter Mary Keeler has this Crisis in the Classroom report.
The leader of Madison County's newest effort to thwart community threats, talking to me about the prevalence of them in Central New York, and more specifically, school swatting incidents. And we asked if too many could be a safety concern to begin with. For a decade, Sergeant Christina Fiola says she's been serving Madison County at the Sheriff's Office. She runs the county's School Resource Officer program.
I never thought this is where we would be 10 years later in law enforcement having to have a team like this.
Sergeant Fiola is also the coordinator for their months-old program called MTAC. That's the Madison Threat Advisory Council, made possible by a state grant, something she says Sheriff Todd Hood's been hoping to get going for some time now.
We take in referrals or cases of persons of potential violence in Madison County, and we do case follow-up and management on those calls when they come in. Various agencies, including law enforcement, mental health, DSS, community services, public schools, private schools, and even larger corporations. And what we do is we come to the table once a month. We meet to discuss persons of potential violence. We can host emergency meetings too, if needed.
This committee working across county lines to help Onondaga County deal with the person who threatened a mass shooting at the Manlius Tops. They follow up after an arrest or a tip, looking for behavior patterns that could mean a real threat. And even more recently, the council looked into swatting threats in their schools.
We were well aware that they were false, so it was just doing our due diligence to make sure it was the same caller, the same incident over and over and over again to keep our schools safe.
Do you worry that that's a vulnerable spot for people trying to take advantage of that?
I don't want people to be panicked, but I do think complacency is a problem. We want every threat to be taken seriously at all times.
Sergeant Fiola says this is just the beginning, with that partnership already in the works with Onondaga County. And she says soon all counties across the state will either have their own or a regional council to meet with when things come up in their communities.
Early in the season.
Because of this, the Oswego Fire Department Deep Water Rescue Team is preparing for rescues this year. Brandon Roth brings us to the Oswego Harbor tonight.
Well, greetings from Oswego Harbor. We are on board Marine One with the Oswego Fire Department Chief Paul Canzone. Marine One is all about saving lives, and this time of year, all year, you are doing a lot of water rescues.
Yeah, our firefighters are going on dozens of water rescues a year, whether it be helping a stranded boater, picking people off the break wall, working with our other public safety agencies, all to kind of keep people safe in the water.
And Marine One is here ready to go at a moment's notice.
So last year we outfitted Marine One with some significant electronic upgrades, a FLIR camera on top that helps us pick up heat signatures in the water, some new GPS mapping, helps these guys navigate the waters even at night. Right now we have it at Wright's Landing.
It's all about getting people quickly out of the water. I had a chance to get in the water. Yeah. And it is cold. The key is to stay calm, and you guys operate quickly.
Yep, stay calm. Always have a personal flotation device. Somebody's in the water, we'll quickly assess if they're able to help themselves. If they're not, we're going in the water, we're getting them.
And Marine One will be on patrol in the water all the way through the end of October, keeping the waterways safe in and around Oswego.
A gorgeous day. I mean, everybody